Hey, this is Colin Walsh for CatchItLive.com again. We're here in the press box with Dr. David Carter, Anthony Joseph. They're both calling the game for SFMSports.net. And they're getting ready to start the pregame, so we're just going to let you listen into the pregame.
The Milford Bucks in a Hem-Open Conference matchup. Hello everyone, I'm Anthony Joseph and will be joined by my broadcast partner, Dr. David Carter. Last week, the Sussex Central Golden Knights hammered Chappaqua 48-21, and this week they are playing that first conference game of the season. Last year, Coach Wells and the Sussex Central Golden Knights at home defeated Milford 34-12. The game was rescheduled from Friday night to Saturday, October the 1st, because of lightning. Meanwhile, the Milford Bucks have at the helm Coach Mike Tack in his 11th season. In week number 3, on the road at Sussex Tech, Milford lost 51-21. Last time they obtained a victory against Sussex Central was way back in 2009 in overtime. Entering in overtime, the score was knotted up at 8 apiece. In overtime, both teams scored on the first possession, but the extra point was no good. Then on the second score, Brandon LeGrand scampered in the end zone for the 6-yard run, and then Mortimer kicked. His kick was successful. They pulled out the victory 21-20, as LeGrand racked up 29 carries for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tonight, they look back to get back on track to their winning ways. I'd like to bring in my broadcast partner, Dr. David Carter. You did a great job last week against Sussex Tech in Milford, and I'm glad you're back again.
Anthony, I appreciate it. I'm definitely happy to be here. And the funny thing is I was actually at that game as a coach when that transpired, and many of those boys that were then seniors were juniors the year before as we won the state championship, and they admit that that game was probably one of the most exciting games they had been a part of, because you're right, it went into double overtime, but unless you were there, you didn't know that the 2 extra points that Central attempted were both blocked by Jarrell Allen, who now plays for the Kansas City Royals in rookie ball. So it was definitely a game that was full of anticipation, full of highs and lows, and we did pull out a big one, and we were at the time just very excited. Ended up having a pretty good season that year, but now as not the coach, one of the coaches anymore, but as an analyst, I tell you what, we have 2 very amazing teams out here tonight. And it looks like the teams seem to both be healthy, and as they're going down for the last little pregame speeches and tune-ups, we'll see where we have to go.
Do you think these teams are evenly matched?
Well, I think that if every player shows up, then yes, it could turn out to be a very, very exciting game tonight. It looks like Central does have a lot of size, and just knowing John Wells pretty extensively, I know that those boys eat, sleep, and drink weights down there, and so you will find that they'll be, from the smallest guys to the largest, will be pretty strong. But I do know that Milford does have a weightlifting program here as well, and they do have some pretty explosive and strong players. So I think that the matchup will be a good one if everyone shows up to do what they need to do tonight.
Are we expecting a closer contest?
I think it all comes down to what we saw last week. The first quarter was close. However, as opportunity arose, there were a lot of tackles that were left on the field that didn't transpire. There was a lot of execution that was stalemated. And, as I said, penalties pretty much iced it for Milford. So if they can nullify all those things that happened last week, then yes, I think it'll be a close game.
We're offline for some reason.
Sullivan, you hit the power button down there, man. You messing up things down there, dude.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, we just went offline, man.
I haven't touched anything yet.
See, now I'm gonna have to catch you.
We're still live, though.
Then cut him with kindness. Would you turn it back on?
Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
You're gonna have to hold it down for a second. Beautiful night for football. The bands are playing. The sounds of football, right, Joe?
Correct.
I don't know what happened. Everything's good, and then
He said we're still live. I got one of my Milford alumni. You tell him to come up here real quick. He plays for the Cincinnati Reds out there.
Okay.
oh, Theo Bo.
Yeah, he's here. He just texted me. I know he's coming. I don't know if he's here. He just asked if I was in the booth.
Drum majors, Brittany Collins and Kaylee Warren. Is your band ready? Central High School marching band, the field is yours in pregame excellence.
You took by surprise. I was like,
All you gotta do is jump up.
all right.
I got your back.
All right. I feel like I'm comfortable.
I'm on the scoreboard. I got your back.
Okay.
Because he got tumbling. One of them has been tumbling.
I mean, you can only say so much to your kid. Yeah. There was as much as that fire or let them know, like, you gotta go get good.
And we're back live in Milford as the Milford Bucks 2-1 take on the 2-1 Sussex Central Golden Knights. I am Anthony Joseph. I'd like to bring back in my broadcast partner, Dr. David Carter. And last week, Dr. Carter, there were some highlights that even though in the loss the score was 51-21,
I wish I lived.
you had Nick Jefferson, 12 carries for 70 yards and a 3-yard touchdown run. Also passing, he was 14 of 28 for 283 yards and a 48-yard touchdown. And then you had receiving Nathan Ford, 7 catches for 85 yards. What did you think of the offense last week?
Well, I think that the score doesn't always indicate, the success or the ability of the offense to put some serious plays together. I think that, we did have a lot of positives. If I was a Milford coach looking at it, I mean, there were several receptions made. There were a few runs that took place, and I think those are things that they could definitely build upon. So, once again, the score depicted that it was more of a one-sided game, but there were some sparks on Milford's offense. So.
Then on defense, you had Ben Mitchell, 10 total tackles, and Octavian Wilson, 2 tackles for loss. Who needs to step up big on the defense tonight?
Well, you know who was pretty quiet? Rickards was actually pretty quiet. He's normally one of their ball hawks who's around the ball making a lot of tackles. And I'm going to tell you that the linebacking core is going to have to step up as well. They're young, but, we're now going into game 4. And, as soon as you play at least 1 or 2 varsity games, you can't use that excuse really anymore. It's an on-the-job training. So, they're definitely going to have to, based upon what Central has traditionally ran, just downhill, off tackle, they're really going to have to make some short tackles, bring their feet to the party, so to speak.
And according to the head coach for Milford, Mike Taka, he said there's 3 keys to victory. Number 1, they need to answer the physical play at Sussex Central. Secondly, they need to control the ball. And lastly, and a lot of coaches will tell you this, not commit turnovers.
That is very true. I think I want to pause here for the national anthem.
And we're getting ready for the national anthem, so we're going to take a break. This is Delaware High School Game Day from SFMSports.net. And we're back live in Milford, and I asked Coach Attack another question about how his team looked in practice, and he said they had a very good week of practice where the coaches stressed fundamentals again and the emphasis on reading their keys. He believes the kids will respond tonight and have a lot of intensity. And Coach, former assistant coach for the Milford Bucks, what do you think Coach Attack told them after the loss last week? It was a heartbreaker because entering that game they were 2-0.
And knowing Coach Attack, he really, uplifted the boys and just told them that, hey, we can't get this game back, but we have to learn from our mistakes. And just to speak to the reading the keys, that's just something that you have to do. And you'll find that some offenses are more easily read than others, but what you'll find here is Sussex Central, they will run a lot of wing T. And so, you have guards pulling and misdirection. So it'll be very, very key that the linebackers really trust their keys and follow through with the things that have been put in play this week.
And Coach John Wells in his 17th year with the team. And as we mentioned last week, he has over 100 wins. With a lot of coaches not staying at schools because most of them, they just don't win. When did you know, because you played for Coach John Wells, as we mentioned last week, when did you realize he was a better coach?
Well, I truly think it was in a conversation that he had with me where he was just matter of fact. And he said to me, after he had asked me what position did I play on offense, and I told him, at that time, I played ball in Kentucky. I was like, I don't play offense, I just play defense. And he looked at me, looked me straight in the eye, and he said, well, I want to win. And right then, I knew that he was the coach I wanted to play for because he was up front, he was honest, and he always, his yes was a yes, his no was a no, and he followed what he said he was going to do. And, that's something that, like I know, any young man, wants you to show them the money. If you're going to say you're going to do something, then one, I need to feel like you could do it, and two, I need to know that you'll follow through with what you say you're going to do. And he always was that type of coach, so I truly respect him for that.
And we have the players at midfield, Sussex Central and Milford, as we get ready for the coin toss. Some other great games tonight. We have Caesar Rodney 2-1 taking on St. Mark's 3-0. They started a little past 7 o'clock. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, that'll be one of those games that'll probably go down to the wire. Caesar Rodney is just known for traditionally being one of those teams that will contend with anybody at all times just because of the mindset that they have, that they feel they're the best team in Delaware. And St. Mark's being one of those teams that have been powerhouses for as long as I've known. But, Caesar Rodney has always traditionally played St. Mark's well. So I think it'll be one of those, knockdown, drag-out games that'll come down to the final quarter, a few minutes of the fourth quarter.
And as we had the Catch It Live coin toss, Sussex Central won it, but they're going to kick it away. They're going to defer and open up the second half with the possession. Another key contest tonight, Sussex Tech taking on the Cape Vikings and Bill Colick. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I think for the Sussex Tech team, and beating Milford convincingly last week, I feel that may have gotten the ball rolling for them. Like the coach said to us last week, they have size and speed, but they have growing pains. I think that Cape offense may have a few veterans on that team, and Coach Collins is always pretty disciplined. I think Cape may pull this out.
Another game tonight. You have the Laurel Bulldogs 1-2 taking on Lake Forest 1-2.
Well, right there with Lake and Laurel, you have two just grind, off tackle, down the middle type teams. You're not going to really see a whole lot of blitzing involved. Buccaneers think you feel. You're just really going to see a lot of pounding the ball, and whoever stands at the end will be the winner of that one. I think maybe Laurel will come out on top of that.
Some other games tonight, Polytech taking on Seaford, and also Woodbridge taking on Canyon River. Woodbridge 0-3 last week. They lost the fight 37-34 against Wilmington and Canyon River last week. As they defeated the Glasgow Dragons at home overall 2-1. As Dr. Carter, just want to try to give them a perspective of the experience when you're here, you have the cannon when they score a touchdown. Also, the players, as they're coming onto the field, they come up in this big blown-up mascot of like a Milford Buck.
Well, I have to tell you that I'd like to be an active part of what we've built here. You'll find that our facilities are probably some of the best in Delaware. Fully turfed field with the big M. You see a sea of maroon and gold. You smell the smells of ball sports. As a team, the home team comes through the Milford Buccaneer, the cannon fires, and you know, without a doubt, that it is game. So here we have, Milford High School getting ready to receive as Sussex Central Golden Knights have the kickoff.
And Alberto Sosa getting ready to kick it off at the 40. The deep men for Milford standing at about their own 9 or 10 yard line. We've Octavian Wilson and Nathan Poor back to receive. It's a high, deep kick. Going to be taken in the end zone for the touchback, and they're going to start at the 20-yard line.
It'll be interesting to see because you find around this time of the year that coaches have gone back and analyzed and looked to see what's working good, what's not working so good. It'll be interesting to see if Milford has changed some things up since last week and just see what kind of success that brings them.
Nick Jefferson, their senior quarterback, 5'10", 165. Gets underway in the first quarter. First down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Milford Bucks taking on the Sussex Central Golden Knights. And the rain starting to come down onto the field, but it's football, so we're going to play it. As long as there's no lightning, like last year. And we have two officials already conferring with one another, but I don't see a penalty marker.
I'll tell you what, the history of Sussex Central and Milford games is, as far as I know, there's always been something. I remember one year we went down to play them, and there was a big delay because the squirrel got fried on one of the electric lines. That game probably started an hour late. So like we're here, it looks like something's wrong with the clock, maybe. 12. So as they work on getting the clock set for 12 minutes. Have a little bit of delay, but you never thought there's something that happens that these two teams meet.
Now if Milford drops back to Division II, and Sussex Central is definitely going to stay in Division I, they won't meet next year.
That's true. The only time you'll find when teams meet like that is if they have a gentleman's agreement or something like that.
First down and 10 at the 20. Jefferson back to pass. He's going to pitch it on that far side. That's Wilson still on his feet. He's at the 25. And making his way to about that 29-yard line, spinning for a couple more yards. As number 54 for Sussex Central making the stop.
Like you said, it looks like we have that high motion. Slot goes around. Quarterback takes a couple steps to the left, gives him that little speed pitch. And it looks like they kind of polished that up a little bit from what we've seen throughout the season thus far. Bring
up a second down and 2 at about that 29-yard line. First possession for the Bucks, as Central did win the coin toss. Jefferson, shotgun. He's got number 7 in motion, but instead that's Augustine still on his feet. He had a big game last week.
Once again, one of those plays that Milford really likes to run. And this is where they check to see if teams are disciplined enough with their defense. They give you a little high motion, hoping the linebackers are bail. They're trying to come right up the gut with it, so we'll see what happens.
And James Booth, the linebacker for senior for the Sussex Central Golden Knights, he is a senior, making the stop. He's one of their team leaders. Third down and 3, 10:47 in the first quarter. Jefferson directing his players back in that shotgun. It's a crucial third down, man in motion. And that's Daniels in motion. It's pitched to him, still on speed at the 30, making his way, trying to get to that 32, but I believe he has enough for the first down.
Daniels followed his blocks around the corner. A couple of guys actually downfield with some pretty solid blocking. Looks like Milford is coming out pretty hungry here on the first drop.
And Jacob Miller on the stop for the Golden Knights. He plays both ways as he's also the starting quarterback. First down and 10 at the 34. They're moving the chains on their first drive of the game. Jefferson shotgun. He's got 2 running backs. He's got the man in motion, number 5, and that's Wilson. Straight ahead running, Augustine past midfield on the 7-yard territory. At about that 47-yard line, Deshaun And he's got some big ones. Andrew Marshall, 6'6", almost 400 pounds.
Andrew's a big guy. The thing about Andrew Marshall, you don't see much stomach on this young man. I mean, if you see him up close, he's a pretty freakishly, genetically designed young man where still very young. He's only a junior, and he could probably put on some more pounds of muscle with some weight room.
First down and 10 officially at the 48-yard line of the Golden Knights. Jefferson back, and he handed off to the man in motion, and that was Wilson. He's still on his feet, trying to spin for a couple more yards. Crosses to about the 46.
Looks like they changed it up a little bit that time. They normally go and have shown a high motion. That time they gave more of a zip motion, in front of the quarterback. Didn't really get the perimeter though.
We're going to see Wilson a lot and also Augustine.
Number 5.
They have a pretty dynamic trio that they use between Wilson, Augustine, and Daniels, where those are the guys that will really get the brunt of the carries. And I tell you, Wilson and Daniels pretty fast.
It's going to be a second down and 10. Not a very good spot back at the 48. Jefferson shotgun high snaps, hand off to number 3, and that's Vance Daniels still on his feet, making it at the 40-yard line. Taking out of bounds, and another first down marker. And the rain is continuing to fall. As a player, does that affect you?
Well, the thing is, it depends on the type of traction you have, but here on this turf, it's pretty state-of-the-art. It drains well. We can have a torrential downpour on this field and still be able to play in the game. So, as far as like the slipperiness of the ball and that type of thing, yes, but in regards to footing, you'll still be able to get pretty good footing out there. A lot of athletes will tell you they like to play in the rain. Something about it just ignites them.
3rd and 1 at the 39-yard line. Jefferson shotgun. He's got Wilson in motion, handed off to Augustine instead. He's got the first down and more, trying to make his way to about the 30-yard line. This is a good drive. First possession for the Bucs as Sussex Central. They won the coin toss and elected to kick it away.
And it looks like their big man, Andrew, is healthy. He's moving that line. Big number 74.
He wasn't that dominant last week against Sussex Tech. Not sure if he had an injury or what. First down and 10 at the 35. And that pass in and out of the hands, but there's a penalty marker near that first down marker at the 25-yard line. And I believe it's a pass interference, but we'll have to see officially.
Looks like number 9, Bailey, might have jumped on his back a little prematurely before the ball got there. But going back to Marshall, he had from my understanding, he had an ankle injury earlier in the season, which kind of was bothering and hampering. So, it looks like he's feeling pretty good.
Perhaps the defender got there a little early. Looks like it's going to be another first down for the Bucs.
And that penalty going to continue this drive with a first down. And Isaiah Bailey, when I spoke to Coach Wells in week number 1, he said he was a big surprise in practice, and he expected big things out of him and also Keith Sims. First down and 10 at the 20-yard line. And for the second straight week, the lights are out.
However,
but they're back on very quickly. 7:28 first quarter, first down and 10 at the 20. And the clock is stopped, and that's the second time.
On the snap.
check. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, right.
Right now, that's the only thing slowing down the Bucs is the scoreboard. First down and 10. Once again, at that 20, another running play. As it seems, Dr. Carter's Sussex Central just can't stop them.
It seems like that Milford has put together a pretty impressive drive. And as a Milford coach, you have to be feeling pretty good right now because, as we spoke, we know that the Sussex Central team is very strong. But it looks like Milford has just dialed up their numbers so far. And they've convincingly had the ball since the beginning of the start of the first quarter and have taken it the distance of the field, starting on their own 20. So
6:52, second down and 9. At the 19, high snap again, handed off, I believe that's number 3, Daniels. Still on his feet, going out of bounds. The clock will stop. 6:43. Here, another first down.
And as you see the game, it looks like a lot of the linemen are going to that second level. You're finding linemen that are going up, getting linebackers. I even saw Marshall a couple plays ago going up looking for a safety. So something has gotten these boys ignited.
They don't want to lose another game as this is their second conference game. First one for the Golden Knights. 3rd down and 6 at the 16-yard line of the Golden Knights. Jefferson, shotgun. Augustine in the backfield sits handed off to Wilson. Near another first down.
Hit that hole pretty hard, jumping a little bit, trying to really get to it. The field goal team is coming out with Philip Berry as the kicker, who is actually one of their starting senior soccer players as well. So he's definitely no stranger to place kicker.
And Sean Morris, the senior 6'4", he created a big hole for Wilson on the 4th down and 4 at the 14. Berry getting ready to kick it. 6:06, first quarter. Ball's down. About that point, it gets up.
Take it
And
up.
good. The Milford Bucks, they get on the scoreboard at the 6:03 mark, leading the Sussex Central Golden Knights.
That's true. And it all depends on who you are as a coach, as a player. Some people are happy with 3, others are like much better to see a touchdown after a drive like that. But points are points. I've seen games lost by 1, so whatever points you can get count.
Well, back in week number 2, Indian River jumped out on top, 9-0, and then last week Sussex Tech at home jumped out to the 23-0 lead at halftime against Milford. So for Coach Mike Tack, 3 early points maybe relaxes his squad a little bit, and the nerves maybe calm down a little bit in this big matchup.
But I think it also elicits that conversation that, you know what, boys, hey, we just drove down the field. We're the ones who stopped ourselves. Let's go out and put some major points on.
Very good. Ready to kick it off at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see because last week, for whatever reason, it looked like they were trying to put the ball in certain spots, but it wasn't very effective. So we'll see what we get here with Barry and the kid.
Barry is ready to take it off, and it's deep high next to the field. About the 12. Changes the record from near to far. He's still on his feet for 40. He's still on his feet at the 30-yard line, running down the sidelines. Nobody's going to catch him. He rumbles in for the touchdown.
What you have right there, Anthony, is the classic roll. You saw where that ball was caught. Whoever that young man was, he took his time, went lateral across the field, got to the wall on his side, went up uncontested as he had an entourage into the end zone. So we have with that being said, we have a touchdown that quick, and Sussex Central's on the board.
He started on this near side, just changed directions. He had the blocker in front of him, and he built walleye, as you said, on the sidelines. Sussex Central just went down for the 6 points. They scored in a hurry at the 5:48 mark. 6-3 is the score. Sosa getting ready to come in for the extra point attempt. High snap, but the ball's down. It is up, and it is good, with Sussex Central leading 7-3 against the Milford Bucks at the 5:48 mark in the first quarter.
That kind of goes back to what I alluded to earlier. 3 points is great, but now you have a score of 7-3. That 3 points doesn't sit so well, but still a lot of game to be played. So we just have to, as a Milford team, bounce back, and then Sussex Central is going to say, well, you know what? I guess we can go out and do it again. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see if they change up their kicking scheme. If they go down and score successfully this time.
Still on the sideline. John Wells fires a team. Up his team as the action is fast paced. Other than the clock being stopped.
It looks like we have James Daniels and Octavian Wilson deep from Milford. Now, Octavian was the one who, in week 2, I believe, took it the distance, scored a touchdown. He's probably one of the more explosive ones on your special teams that'll hit a seam and go. So we'll see who they kick it to, what happens.
And Sosa getting ready to kick it off at the 40.
That's offside.
That should be a penalty. Kicker went to kick the ball, missed it. The whole team went past the ball. Oh no, anywhere in America, that's an offsides penalty. So
I've never seen that before.
even in baseball, that would be considered a ball, right? You
Yes,
get
it
jumped
would.
for that.
I can't believe he just went and just missed it. I was so surprised.
But the way he approached it, it almost looked like he was going to maybe onside kick that. So I don't know if maybe this back line for Milford should move up. Because that's a 20-yard gap between the first line and second.
And the officials were kind of surprised, and also Milford, they didn't know what happened. They had to confirm. As it is a penalty, going to back him up 5 yards instead of going to kick it off at the 35-yard line. Wilson and also Daniel still back deep.
And as you can see, the Milford coaches were getting very adamant about moving up.
Sosa kicks it. Short kick. And it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. And that's where Jefferson starts this drive, their second possession. Last time they started at the 20, and it resulted in the field goal attempt. That was successful by Barry.
And it looks like Milford came out with the same base formation. 2 wings, 1 to each side, a fullback offset to the quarterback and gun with the receiver spread out wide. So, and they had a lot of success. Got down into the red zone, ended up with 3 points. So let's see what they come up with as Jefferson heads out to the house.
Getting plenty from Coach Mike Tack. 5:48, Sussex Central 7, Milford 3. Shotgun. Man in motion. And it's handed off to him. That's Daniels. Still on his feet. Trying to make his way near the 30-yard line.
It looks like Daniels is running a little more downhill this week. Last week he was trying to go a little left, north, east to west, but he actually looks like he's putting that foot in the ground and getting upfield from positive yards. And that's something you definitely want to see with a running back at all levels.
5:22. First quarter, 7-3 is the score. Second down and short. At about that 28. Jefferson in the shotgun. Man in motion, Wilson. It's a high snap. It's bobbled. And number 21 making a stop. Heath Jones, the linebacker. He's a senior.
Like an all-out blitz right there. Whether it was a high snap or not, it looked like Sussex Central was coming for it. So.
You're correct. There's also Travis Caraway, the linebacker, number 54. He was in the backfield. They were all geared up to try to sack Jefferson.
And I think part of the reason why Milford is having success because it looks like they're winning the line of scrimmage. Sussex Central with smaller type linebackers. They look like your traditional, like your Air Force 3-3-5 type defense where their linemen aren't that big.
So third down and long. Man in motion, Wilson. Jefferson back to pass. Looking for a screen pass and about that 20-yard line and incomplete.
You know, I'm really not a fan of that pass. I mean, you see him out in zip motion, he plays out, and it's just exposing him with a corner that sees it's coming to him because the quarterback doesn't look away. So, I don't know. That might be when you want to strap. I don't know.
And the safety came over, so definitely you might want to strap. 4th down and 7 at the 23, and Milford's going to have to kick it away. Saying about his own 10. It's a high kick, a short kick.
Let's see if this brain does anything with it.
And bounces from the 40 to about that 45. And defense, Isaiah Bailey. He let it bounce in front of him. Still good field position.
Well, you have them on their 45 and threatening, maybe they're 46, so you're right. That is pretty good field position. And you don't really want to get in that field position battle if you're any team. So we'll see what happens as this is their first offensive play from scrimmage.
4:02, first down and 10 at the 46, Sussex Central 7, Milford 3. Miller, the quarterback's going to hand off to number 20. And he's wrapped up right away by number 74. And that's Andrew Marshall. Between Andrew Marshall and Sean Morris, you have about 600 pounds.
And that might just be, you might be generous right now. you probably have more than that because Andrew can account for about 360 to 70 of them himself. So we might be pushing the easy 7 plus.
Gregory Taylor was the one running the ball for
3:35 to go in the first quarter. 7-3 the score. Jacob Miller, the senior, got some playing time last year as a junior when Jesse Long was injured. And that was fake to the running backs to the pass. Down this sideline from number 9. That's Bailey. Complete near the 20-yard line of Milford. Stopped by number 11. And also number 9 of Milford, Henry.
That's that patented wing team where you get some misdirection. Quarterback throws into a backside running back and it slipped out down the side. So, look for that type of thing. Central is traditionally known for running many routes on a play. So, you might have 1 or 2 receivers out at the most.
First down and 10 at the 24. Milford Miller behind the center wing T formation. Fake to Bailey instead. He's back to the 5, but the ball is loose. As Murray was the ball carrier, but it was jarred loose by a Milford defender. And Neelam scooped it up. First turnover of the game.
That kind of goes back to what you asked about the rain. Hey, you can run on it, but you just got to hold on to the ball. Pigskin gets wet and gets slippery.
Big relief for Coach Mike Tack as they were driving already with a 7-3 lead, 2:53 in the first quarter.
It'll be interesting to see what they come out here with. They run a lot of shotgun, wet ball, coming out. They're on their own 3-yard line. So interesting to see. Looks like they're going under center.
2 wide receivers lined up. 2 running backs in the backfield, and that's Wilson in motion. It's going to be handed off. I believe that's Augustine straight up the middle. Couple yards.
You're trying to get themselves a little wiggle room there.
What you'll find with a lot of defensive coordinators and defensive players themselves, when they get an offense, with their backs against their own end zone, it's like it just brings out something else. Like sharks, the blood is in the water, the sharks will come. So I'm sure you'll probably see some high velocity plays from Sussex Central's defense right now as they see Milford as their back against their own end zone.
And on that last possession of Milford, you had the Sussex Central blitz. Jefferson, second down and 10. Back to pass, and he tried to get it complete to number 4, and that was Nathan Ford in and out of his hands, matched up with number 54. He's one of the linebackers for Sussex Central, Travis Caraway.
It looks like with that little now guy, poor partner, he probably could have wiggled for a first down, but that brain coming down, it was probably coming down a lot more than what we realized. Makes that ball very slippery, and that being the first one thrown, he probably didn't realize it, didn't look it in as, you found a lot of these athletic gloves, they add more tackiness to the actual grip. So, rainy night like this, you're really going to have to look that ball in, secure it.
And Ford, one of the favorite targets of Jefferson. Third down and 10 after the incomplete pass. Jefferson back in that shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. And that was a high snap. That was fumbled. I believe he jumped on it. I believe that's going to be a safety.
Yes.
We did have a safety there. We saw that same thing last week, and like I said, it goes back. Wet ball, you're back against your own end zone. What do you do? And so they came out and gunned 4 wide receiver set. However, never got to get the play off. Who knows what they had dialed up? Might have been something that would have been successful, but really going to have to work on drawing that ball off in between plays.
The only concern when you run that play, you only had one running back in the backfield. And Sussex Central brought the blitz, and the center maybe felt some pressure, and that was just a high snap.
They're actually pretty fortunate that they didn't end up being 7 points for Sussex Central just like that, because as you saw, he was reaching down to get control. I think at that point, most coaches would tell you just kick it out the back of the end zone, because it's going to be a safety. Kick it out the back of the end zone. That way you don't run the risk of Sussex Central recovering, and it'd be 14-3.
At least a player from Milford recovered it. Could have been a lot worse. 1:40 left in the first quarter. 9-3 is the score. Berry getting ready to kick it off at his 20-yard line. Deep man for Sussex Central. Sending it about the 22.
really hope that Barry's going to put some distance on that with them coming out of their on their own 20. We'll see.
Setting up the pass defense that paid off. They jump around.
Bailey standing on the far side at his 22. It's a short squib fielded at the 40, taken at the 45 and 50. Crossing about the 40, still on his feet, making his way to the 30-yard line of Milford. And even with that short squib, just ran straight up the middle and had still a big hole.
I really don't know why you would do that. Because, you know, if you go to some more yards, you're picking the tee up. You're picking the kickoff block up. I mean, I don't know why, if you know you're kicking because of the safety, you wouldn't just send it. Hopefully, you know, someone will fumble it, and at least you're on the 50. Now they're on Milford's 30, threatening.
And that was a good kick. As far as Barry, he's a good kicker. You had the respective Bailey standing about that 22. Sets the first down and 10 at the 30. Running play. So with them respecting Barry's leg instead of squibbing it to the 40-yard line, you have them starting once again in excellent field position.
It's like Andrew Marshall. Whatever he's been doing, he's actually moving a lot better. That was another tackle that he kind of stacked up.
Hey, faster.
Clock continues to wind. 1:05 in the first quarter. 9-3 is the score. Sussex Central with the ball. 57 seconds. Wing T, Miller behind the center, man's in motion. Handed off to him for the far to the near. He's at the 20, has a good block, still on his feet, and that's number 21, I believe. Sussex Central, Keith Jones.
Yeah, Jefferson on the initial tackle went low. But like I told you, Jefferson is their quarterback. He gets up a little slow. He's limping a little.
Brought down, but not until it was about 10 or 15 yards.
And Jones on the block of number 76, Burton Bowman. 6'5", 230. He is a senior. 37 seconds. Bringing up another first down. At the 10-yard line of the Bucks. 32 seconds. Should be the last play of the first quarter. Wing T formations handed off to number 20. From the near to the far. Still on his feet, and he gets in the end zone, but there is a penalty marker standing at about that 10-yard line. See if it's holding against the Golden Knights.
It is holding. They got lucky here. Milford did, because number 8 looked like he was going to have him in the backfield. Just ran right past him. He made a move and just ran right past him. You know, hit him in the legs or something. Stop the man if you're not a bigger player. But you got to wonder if they've worked on that this week.
Seems when they're changing directions, that Gregory Taylor from the near to the far, he gets on that far side, and it's a big hole. A lot of running space. 22 seconds left in the first quarter. Huge penalty to get Milford. Clock continues to keep on going. And they're now at the 22-yard line. 12 seconds. First down. Hand off to number 21, still on his feet. He's got some running room. And number 11 makes the stop.
He's going to need him on the stop, and that's something that is characteristic of Sussex Central. We saw that play like probably 3 plays ago. He got about 10+ yards, and that's something that Wells will do. He'll definitely come back to the well until the water runs dry.
And James Powell, he was in the air. I thought he was going to make the tackle, but ball carrier ran right past Powell.
That was the same thing that happened the play before. That was the same play. So I don't know if he's coming in too fast, not being able to break down, or what's happening, but sometimes you have to be able to redirect and make that key stop.
That's the end of the first quarter with the Bucks 3, Sussex Central 9. This is Delaware High School Game Day for SFMSports.net.
Yeah, I've been talking to the coach a little bit. They played good. So bad, and they trying to divide what they were doing.
Here comes Philly.
That's not great. If I had to leave, I would have been there. That's all down.
Just have to get back in there after the game.
You want to try to see if it'll work at halftime?
Yeah, I can do that.
Will you be here till halftime? Or?
Yeah, I just
Stand by. And we're back live in Milford as the rain continues to fall. I'd like to thank Colin Walls from Catching Live for being here tonight. We'll hear from him briefly at halftime on the Milford Southern State halftime show. Getting ready to start the second quarter. 9-3 score. I'm Anthony Joseph, my broadcast partner, Dr. David Carter. Miller behind the center is Quincy on the second down and 10 at the 9. Nice draw straight up. That's number 20, Jones. Near the goal line. I believe he was stopped at the 1.
What some people call a sally. And he planted his foot in water. Just took it straight down the middle of the field for 20 yards. And a touchdown.
And Sussex Central rotating players in and out. 11:53. First down.
It's a bird. You can't float it in. Got to come up with
And the field goal unit in.
Oh, nearly
Almost blocked by Daniels, but almost doesn't count.
And it is good. As Sussex Central, they extend the lead. As they gave him surprise. I thought his knee was down. I didn't think they gave him the touchdown, but they did, and that was the extra point. I thought he was stopped at that 1 yard line. Very favorable call by the officials. What are your thoughts?
Well, it looked like the ball probably crossed the plane when his knee hit, but he had so much momentum going into that hole that I guess they probably figured there was no way he could have been down before the end zone. But just like that, we're now looking at the score of Milford 3 and Sussex 16. And I don't want to say it's telltale signs of last week, so hopefully we'll get something going here.
And the thing in high school, you don't have instant replay, and the officials, they do have a tough job.
They do.
At the 11:53 mark, Sussex Central 16, Milford 3. Vernon Sosa getting ready to kick off at his own 40. And you have Wilson standing at about his 2 yard line, and also that's Vance Daniels. Sosa kicks it off, it's a high kick. It's going to be fielded in the end zone. And his knee was down, it's going to be for a touchback. Start once again at the 20. But if you look at field position, Sussex Central compared to Milford, Sussex Central is getting in Milford territory, or if not, they're starting at about their own 45-yard line. So what field position has been a key like it was last week in the loss against Sussex Tech?
That is definitely true. It looks like what Milford has to do now is just put together a drive. They have to go and the quarterback needs to take control of the huddle and just remind his boys of what they did that first series when they came out and just drive it down the field.
First down and 10 at the 20. Second quarter shotgun formation. And straight ahead to the ball carrier.
hard running there on the right side. So,
I think it might have been Daniels, but it looks like he's kind of second guessing which hole to go. I think he needs to be a little bit more get that hole and get out.
Octavian Wilson, definitely one of the playmakers for the Milford Buck offense. 11-16, second quarter. 16-3 is the score. Sussex Central on top, shotgun formation. Second down and 10, it's pitched to Wilson. Full course, and here's Phillips, 50-second locker. Under at the 40. 5-yard line.
He has a stride that he's getting
every 36 yards.
once he got it on that side, right around the corner, he picked up very quick.
You have to credit Devin Needham making one of the blocks for Wilson. Paved the way to the 43. First down and 10. 10:49, second quarter. Jefferson's
Don't
shotgun.
let him run you to the sideline, though.
Man in motions Daniels once again. Quarterback sneak, twists and turns for a minimal gain. Trying to get close to midfield.
I'm not sure if that was a long play or if that was designed. It looked like he opened up and the fullback didn't even fake the ball, so fake for the ball. So I'm not sure that was supposed to happen. However, the quarterback thinking on his toes got a positive gain.
And Coach Mike Tack, he's going to take a timeout at the 10-12 mark in the second quarter. We're going to take a timeout with him. This is Delaware High School Game Day from SFMSports.net.
Really? Tell me, T-Ball. Yeah.
Back live in Milford as the Milford Bucks hosting the Sussex Central Golden Knights. Both squads 2-1. Sussex Central with the lead 16-3. Coming out of the Milford timeout. Milford still has 2 timeouts remaining.
And the reason they had to call that timeout is because quarterback Jefferson's helmet came off, so Cole Davis has to go in for a break. As you know, that's across all levels of football. So we actually have Cole Davis, who's a sophomore, and they just put him under center. Let's see what happens.
Sussex Central, they want to blitz. Man in motion number 3. And just hand it off straight ahead. That's Augustine. Just a simple play.
That's what you have to have. That's what happens a lot of times when you have a young quarterback, it's raining. You got to keep yourself safe. You don't want to risk turning the ball over on your own footing. So Jefferson going back in, kind of on 3rd and 5.
And they got a couple yards, some positive yards. It wasn't a busted play. 3rd down and 6 at the 47. 9:39. 16-3 to score. Jefferson back in that shotgun. High snap. It's going to pitch to Wilson. He covers it there. It's still on his feet. That's a hard hit. About that 49-yard line. And with that delay, he had some running room, but it allowed the blockers to come over. And the space, though,
looks like the time for fun again. I mean, wet ball, can't really blame them to pitch. That's where it's been all night. But yeah, when you get that kind of thing, you have a defender on you as soon as you catch that pitch. He's lucky that wasn't a turnover. So way to hold on to the ball by Wilson. We'll see what they have in the 4th and short. Actually, 4th and 4. So let's see what we do.
and they had a big hole. I think they'd have 4th down and much more. He might have gone in for the touchdown. On that 4th down and 4 at the 49. Gonna have to kick it. Gets it off at the 40 at the high. That was pushed by Sussex Central. I believe Milford recovered, but we'll have to see.
I think Milford might have missed that recovery.
They had a hand on it, but with it wet, you're right. I think Sussex Central. They were fighting in the scrum. I believe Sussex Central came away with it, and they did.
Now here we have another scenario where an offense has their back against the wall. It's time the tide to turn. We have Sussex Central with their back against the wall. Let's see if Milford defense gets excited and plays up to this.
Sussex Central already has 1 turnover on the evening. 1st down and 10 at the 13. Looks like they're going to blitz Milford. And that's a counter on that far side.
He was pulled down by that was Mitchell.
I did Bailey on the carry. Couldn't tell the tackle. I think it was number 21, Junior Lamore. We just get there. Make the stop for the Bucks. It's going to be 2nd down.
8-11. Second quarter. 16-3 is the score.
Milford really needs to get a 3 and out here.
I go down here. Wait, he did, Coach.
That's a draw play. And he dives past that first down marker near the 30-yard line.
18 wanted to get outside and contain him. Turn it good, protected the ball with both hands, and actually picked up the first down. 15-yard run by the quarterback.
Coming up at halftime, we're going to have some scores for you. 7:33, first down and 10 at the 30-yard line. And the ball carries through. And Milford recovered it at the 20.
That was Dr. Ricker. He probably has more fumble recoveries than some running backs have. This man is all over the ball all this year.
As you were mentioning earlier, with the rain, it's hard to get a hold of a ball.
That ball was virtually up there, and it's a gift. The Lakers, they can capitalize on it. You know, if they can score, you're looking at 16 to 10. We've got a board there.
Second turnover on the evening for the Golden Knights. 7:23, 16 threes to score. First down and 10 at the 19. Great field position. Jefferson in the shotgun. You have 4 wide receivers stacked up on the far side, one on the near, and Sussex Central took a timeout because they didn't know what was going on. They were confused, and that was a smart timeout by Coach John Wells as they have 2 left.
They've got quads, which Milford came out with 4 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and with that set, you automatically think it's going to those 4, but if you have a good receiver to the backside, that's a slant or one move, you know, deep push, you never know.
What about even a quarterback sneak?
That could happen too. I guess it all depends on how the defense lines up to it. So you'll find that some defenses are so set in their ways that they'll dare you to throw it and feel that their team's speed is fast enough that, you know, you're not going to beat them over top with the corners, and you know their linebackers can get to the flat. So we'll see how Central lines up to it.
Do you think they'll come out in a different formation? Now it looks like 4 wide receivers on the far side, same formation, wide receiver on the near. Bailey's lined up, I believe, against Neelam on this near side. Jefferson in the shotgun. It's a good snap. He's back to pass. He's got protection. And in and out of the hands of number 81. I believe that's Joey Wagenhofer, the tight end.
That was a beautiful route. Wide open middle of the field, which that kind of offensive formation will. It'll give you that inside. Like I said, they could have ran a slant to the backside, but ball was just behind Wagenhofer. You have to wonder if that rain is causing the ball to get away from the quarterback. So wasn't Wagenhofer's fault. It was behind him and a little high. So we'll see what they come out with this time.
I think you had to throw it high because the defender was right there. You didn't want an interception. So I understand what Jefferson was doing. Second down and 10 at the 19. Shotgun. 4 wide receivers set on the far. He's looking at his man Neelam. Says he's going to tuck it and run. He's at the 10 and knocked out of bounds at the 9. And I was discussing about a quarterback sneak.
I think you called that one. It looks like Jefferson chose to take the smart dog. Looks like he got the yards he needed and just went out of bounds. I mean, that's something you want to do when you look at, you know, a quarterback week in and week out having to take hits and things like that. If you can avoid them, you want to avoid them. Because even if you look at college and professional level, you know, there's so many different things you can't do anymore. So, you know, I think it was a smart play by Jefferson.
Bring up a third down and 2. Quarterback keeper as he was under center. Just following his big offensive line, Marshall and Morris.
Smart play by Jefferson. It's like a surefire first down.
And Marshall paying big dividends tonight.
Definitely a first down.
First down, Clear.
I'll tell you what, at some point as a coach, a rainy night, you know, even though this ground is draining, traction is not as great as it is on a dry turf. So you just wonder if at some point you just say, hey, let's just run off tackle, off Marshall all night.
I think,
6:47, second quarter, 16-3 is the score. First down and 8 at the 8-yard line. The Golden Knights. That was a pass to number 3. And that's Vance Daniels still on his feet, about a couple yards or two, breaking some tackles.
3 yards for the Bucks.
That was definitely made a nice move. You do kind of wonder, you're on you got a first down, you're on your 5. Do you pound it or do you go out and try to throw it out? Because that was a pass 15 yards lateral and a gain of 3 yards, as opposed to you line up, get behind Marshall, and bang out these 5 yards for a touchdown.
And you look at Neelam, he was matched up against Bailey from Sussex Central, and nobody was around him. And we'll have to see if Jefferson tries to find him this time. He's taken out at 6 after 6. Still another running play. If you're Neelam, do you go in and tell Jefferson, even though he's getting the play from Tack, hey, I'm wide open, you need to throw to me, I think I can score 6 points?
Well, I think Neelam is like any other receiver. He's looking at his quarterback like, hey, I'm there. I wonder, though, at some point, do you go back to what you've had success with? They've had success tonight with that high motion, wide pitch. I mean, they've gained, 5, 10, 15 yards a clip. You just wonder if they come back to it.
5:22. Third down, still at the 6. It's a high snap, but now pitched to number 5. That's Wilson from far to the near. Still on his feet.
Good push by Katie Wilson.
And on that second effort, just pushing the Sussex Central tacklers.
That was definitely the play that I was talking about, and just like that. Yeah, they gained.
You gotta love the way Octavian runs the
but
ball.
unfortunately, now it's short and short. What do you do?
Everything you can to get it in the end
That's a
zone.
tough decision. That's why Coach Mike Tack gets paid the big bucks. We're at the 4:39 mark. 16-3 is the score. Sussex Central on top. They do have 2 timeouts. So if they need to burn one at this point, and that's what they're going to do, he needs to talk it over and get the right play in. We're going to take a timeout with him. This is Delaware High School Game Day from SFM Sports.net.
I was in violation of a lot but I don't think I like the person.
And we're back live in Milford, coming out of the Milford Bucks timeout. They still have 1 left, 4:41 in the second quarter. 16-3 is the score. It's a crucial 4th down and 2 at the 2-yard line. And Coach Mike Tack, they're going to go for it. Jefferson in the shotgun. He's got Augustine in the backfield. 2 wide receivers set on both sides. That hand off to Augustine, and he lunges in. Looks like and it is a touchdown.
Augustine had his college football NFL moment. He went over top of the pile and gave it his all and was successful.
Also,
Augustine's a big boy too, 5'11", almost 205 pounds, matter of fact.
He's a solid kid. Loves the weight room, works hard.
Barry getting ready for the extra point attempt. 4:35. Barry, ball's up, and it is good.
I tell you what, 4 minutes and 35 seconds left. Not only are you trying to stop Sussex Central, if you're Milford, you're trying to stop them, get the ball back with time to go down and try to score again. But we'll see if Central comes out with that ball again.
And coming up at halftime, when the Southern States and Milford halftime show, we will have some scores. You'll get to find out what's happening between the Dover Senators and the Smyrna Eagles. As Dover on the road. And also Caesar Rodney on the road against the St. Martin Spartans. As that's a big battle.
That is.
4:35, and we have a battle here. 16-10 to score. Turnover's been the key. And field position for the Golden Knights. 2 turnovers, an excellent field position. And Milford's capitalizing on that turnover.
It's definitely a game where whoever wants it the most will come out on top.
Barry getting ready to kick this at the 40-yard line. Deep man for Sussex Central. I believe that's Bailey standing at his own 9. That's a high kick. And Bailey's going to let it bounce. And it bounces at about the 1-yard line. That's going to be a penalty.
That's the thing that you sometimes see. But you know what? Based upon what happened last time, they kicked off to them. I'd much rather start probably on their own 35-40 as opposed to have a touchdown. So, as you saw, Coach Tack was clapping and just saying, hey, let's go from here.
And Barry has a strong leg.
He does. And, you just wonder if the weather is a factor, but, it's been raining for a while, so we'll see what kind of condition the ball is in. Sussex Central was to start off on their own 35.
Jacob Miller, the senior, getting a flag from his head coach, John Wells. Breaking huddle. The first down and 10 at the 35. 16-10 to score. 4:35 left in the second quarter.
Draw.
It's a long snap. Fake to the running back. Hit at the pass. Across the middle. That crossing pattern. The number 32, and it is complete.
Booth is a household name or something. You go back to Bucky Booth and Jake Booth and Representative Booth. Booth is a household name in Sussex Central.
Joe Booth is who you're meeting.
That's what it was, Joe Booth. I remember he actually was a funny story. Joe Booth was actually one of my coaches. Gave me the nickname IHOP, International House of Pancakes. And,
did you like pancakes?
Well, no, that was one of those blocks when you put somebody on the 8 numbers.
First down and 10 at the 43. The counter still on his feet. Past that first down mark at the 25, the 20. Still on his feet at the 10. He rumbles in for the touchdown, and once again he had a wall on that Sussex Central sidelines. And Milford just cannot pick up that coverage.
That looked like number 6, maybe. Sean Savage. That's Sean Savage, sophomore, number 8. I mean, as you saw at the end, we had Milford still hustling. They just couldn't wrap up and bring them down. So, just like that, it's 22-10. And looks like they may be lining up. No, they're going to kick it.
I believe that's Burr Sosa getting ready to kick it. Placeholder is the quarterback, Jacob Miller. 4:02. Ready for the snap. And Milford, he's one offside. So he's number 3 just offside.
Looks like Grant Daniels got a little itchy. And just like that, now we have half the distance. Looks like they're going to go offense.
He was trying to anticipate the snap, and he wanted to try to get in there as fast as possible to block the kick.
Exactly. But see, unfortunately, now we have the offense out there, and they're going for 2.
And you know Coach John Wells, he likes to get aggressive.
Yeah, there's no quit in Coach John Wells' offensive style. Let me tell you. Comes out in a power backfield formation.
And Miller just hands it off straight ahead up the middle, and he gets in and untouched for the 2-point conversion. As it's now 24-10.
That extra yardage was not specific.
That's the 4 of the
Still gives plenty of time to capitalize, but they really don't want to get in that back and forth battle as they had last week. It's still a lot closer game than what we had, but no team can afford to do that.
Coach Mike Tax does 1 timeout to work with. Still has a lot of time, 4 minutes. They do trail 24-10. And Milford's on the field awaiting the Sussex Central. Coach Wells was
The precarious situation that this place Sussex Central is now, they don't necessarily know what to look for. They don't know if they're looking for running plays coming out or they're looking for the pass the ball. There's still plenty of time to run the ball there. With the rain letting up, a little bit, so they may start to get holes in it.
and Sosa kicks it at the 40. Defense covers it at the 5, 10, 15, 20, still on his feet at the 25. And over out of bounds at the 29. Coach John Wells, he was on the sidelines with his team. Seemed like for about a minute, and then Milford was already in. He just wanted to make sure he had all the instructions to give to his players.
Josh Swift maybe hurt. Not sure what happened. I do know that Daniels gave a couple of guys some decent moves, stiff arming one of Sussex Central's defenders coming down and got it out to the 30 as opposed to a touchback. So smart play there.
3:56. Sussex Central 24. Milford 10. Last year's score 34-12, but they were at home. Stoppage play since that age was a Central player, but he's on his feet. That was number 15. Joshua Swift.
Yeah, it may have just been something getting hit in a certain area or the wind knocked out of him because he seemed to be running back to the sideline uninjured. So you see what happens on first and 10 on Memphis 30.
We're in the second quarter. First down and 10 at the 30 of Milford. Jefferson shotgun. He's got Augustine in the backfield, laying in motion. That's number 3, Vance Daniels. Pitch to him. Still on his feet. At about that 35-yard line.
6-yard carry. Good running there for the
Pretty good gain. Milford has successfully gotten the corner for positive yards all night. So, my feeling is until they can stop it, I would keep going forward. So, we'll see what they do.
Clock continues to wind. 3:28. 24-10 is the score. And they have one timeout, the Bucks do, at their disposal.
So they come out here with plenty of time on the flag.
There he is.
Going to bring out the second down and 4 after 36. Jefferson in the shotgun. Got Augustine leading the backfield. Man in motion to Wilson. Back to pass. He's got a man open. That's Neal. Mashed up against Bailey. Jumps up. Pulls the ball, but incomplete.
That was a great pass by Jefferson. It went over the defender's hands. Neither just needed to look that in. Those are the types of passes you hope for. It was a nice deep pass, about a 40-yard pass, and had the opportunity to do something special there. Unfortunately, the ball hit the ground, and you still have to wonder, was it nerves, was it the weather, or what? But needless to say, we have about a third and 4 coming up.
At the 3-minute mark, 24-10 is the score. At the 36-yard line of the Bucks. Third down and short. 4 wide receivers to the near side, 1 on the far, empty backfield. Jefferson in the shotgun, back to pass. He's got number 3 wide open, steady ball for number 4 at about that 30-yard line, and incomplete. And that was Vance Daniels. It was ripped from his hands from the defensive back. That was just good coverage.
Yeah, that was. Actually, like that was Nathan Poor. I tell you what, had he put a little bit more zip on that ball, that may have ended up being a reception because Poor snuck past the defenders there. But unfortunately, we're now looking at a 4th and 4 and a punt. And you just kind of hope that Barry, if you're Coach Tag, you hope that Barry gets a hold of this thing and sends it.
And Barry had about his 20 as a high snap. It's a short kick. As a deep man for Central, Bailey was at his 25. It's just going to take a roll to the 40-yard line of the goal line. And that's, once again, good field position.
Now, John Welsh, you got 2 minutes and 46 seconds. All of their drives have been less than that thus far, so he might just stick to what they've been doing, just, ground and pound and see if they can't just go ahead and score. They're on their own 39.
And Sussex Central, they want to try to pick up this victory as the next week they're back home hosting the Dover Senators. 2:40 30-46, 24-10 is the score.
It'll probably be an interesting game because we know Dover scores a lot.
It's a first down and 10 at the 38. Man in motion is number 21. And that's number 1. He's in the pass. And it is a pass up for grabs and knocked down. And that play was similar to the Lake Forest Sussex Central game. In the fourth quarter, they ran that play.
Downfield ball incomplete.
And it looks like number 8 had he just jumped a little bit and attacked it at his highest point. He could have had an interception, a good field position, but he kind of waited for the ball to come down. Therefore, the Sussex Central receiver was able to become a defender and almost came out with the ball. So, you know, you teach your DBs to attack the ball at its highest point.
And against Lake Forest, it was successful. It was a Wildcat formation. Now we're back to a second down and 10 at the 39, and he's still in the game. That was a quarterback sneak, just shy of midfield.
And that's actually Monte Clanton. He's not there. He wasn't their starting quarterback, I don't believe. I think he might be more of their explosive package quarterback.
I spoke with Coach Wells before the Lake Forest game, and Clanton is the backup with Miller, the starting quarterback, but he did want to get Clanton involved, and he certainly is. Third down and short at the 48-yard line. I think he got enough on that lane surge for the first down. We'll have to see on the spot.
Yeah, it looks like they just decided to just take up the gut with the quarterback keeper. That's not unusual of Wells to actually, start rotating in whoever he sees as being the next year's quarterback. That's something he's done for years where, they split time and they learn to play, just on-job training. So by the time next year rolls around, you have a quarterback that is actually seasoned and can go out and be effective.
And that's what Miller got to do last year in relief of Jesse Long, who broke his collarbone early on. Clanton back to pass, a screen, it's complete number 20. Still nice to get the 50 from the 45 to the 40. Making his way out. That came loose at about the 30 near the central sidelines.
He got so excited about making moves with that screen that got stripped away from him. And, once again, it's a wet ball, but it was still a game. We see this happen a lot where you see like a running back or receiver trying to get extra yards and the ball gets knocked loose. So, fortunately for them, they went out of bounds. They retained the ball on the 31.
And it's a first down at the 31. Clanton still in the game. He's handed off straight ahead, still on his feet. And he makes his way to about the 11-yard line.
That was Murray.
Murray carries the ball.
Smaller back. You can see his calves from the booth. He looks like a powerful guy.
A minute left here to play. Buccaneers need to buckle up.
Minute 13. First down and 10 at the 14.
Quick count.
And straight ahead running, and that's number 5, makes his way in for the score. Jaquandis Murray.
Same kind of running, and they should almost see that coming. If they didn't stop it last time, it's going to come back again, and that's what we're seeing. So Murray just up the gut. Looking at 30 to 10. They make this extra point, it'll be 31, and 1 minute left before halftime.
And last time for Sussex Central, with the Milford penalty, the 2-point conversion, they went for it, and it was successful. 30 to 10. Miller's back in as a holder. Place kicker Sosa. It's up, and it is good as the score is 31 to 10. A minute 4 seconds remaining before halftime, and Coach Tack, he has some time to work with. But you got to make sure you don't turn over the ball.
Exactly, and that's what you find. This is a very tricky time in the game where it's right before halftime. I believe Central gets the ball coming back out after the half. A minute left. If they go out and they do it effectively, they could possibly score. But you don't want to have a 3 and out with any time left on there because I don't think Sussex Central has used all of their timeouts. And knowing well, they'll try to score again if you can.
As the last several years when he had the Long brothers, Jesse and DJ, I remember announcing a lot of his games, and before halftime, he liked to throw the ball downfield to try to get some quick points.
Definitely. Everybody likes to go into halftime with a cushion.
And Sosa getting ready to kick it off at the 40. Deep man for the Bucks. That's Wilson and also Daniel standing about their 5-yard line. Sosa, he's now ready. And that's a deep kick and goes in the out of the end zone, as I thought Wilson was going to try to field it. Instead, he just elected to just let it keep on bouncing. It bounced out of the end zone for the touchback, and that's where Jefferson's going to start for the Bucks with 1:04 seconds.
Looks like Sosa really just swibbed it. It hit the ground one bounce and was out of the end zone before Octavian Wilson could really attack it.
It's a first down and 10 at the 20. 2 wide receivers on this near side. One on the far and a running back in the backfield. Pass is complete to Wilson.
Jefferson connects with Octavian Wilson.
Pass. I almost wondered if Wilson could have planted and turned up and got some more. But, hey, right now, reception is a reception, clock is stopped.
I think he was concerned about the clock at that point. They just wanted to get some yards and see if they can at least get 3 points. 59 seconds. 31 10 to score. Jefferson, shotgun. 3 wide receivers. 1 on the far. Man in motion's now number 3. Once again, that's Daniels. Hand off. I believe that's Augustine.
It's actually Andrew Carpenter. Carpenter was a pretty explosive back, had a lot of potential. Blew his ACL out last season. This is actually his first game back, so he may be a little iffy with his planning and cutting, but had a successful week in practice.
30 seconds left. 3rd down and 5 at the 25. Jefferson shotgun. To the man in the backfield to block. He's back to pass. Instead, he's just going to scramble with it. Still on his feet. And the ball being loose. And Central has recovered it at the 40. I thought he was going to go out of bounds at about the 40. Instead, he elected to keep on running.
After about a 20-yard run.
Nice footwork by him. However, now it's 9 seconds left, and like you said, enough time for Coach Wells to go with that patented last play. Look for a play action, bootleg, and then deep pass to somebody that slipped out into the sideline. So we'll see what happens there.
And it would have been a lot better if they'd have just gone out of bounds at the 40. The clock would have stopped. Now it's a first down and 10 at the 42. 9 seconds and that was Jacob Miller behind center. They take a knee and they're happy with the 31-10 lead. And that's going to conclude the end of the second quarter as the Milford Bucks they trail 31-10. You're listening to Delaware High School Game Day from SFMSports.net.
It was a little surprising. I thought 9 seconds he'd go for the gusto. So
what's the deal with our customers? Are they supposed to leave at 10? Yeah.
So we're done. I'll ask you that.
Okay. Voting. Apparently Brady told them that they're supposed to leave at 10 o'clock.
No, they're supposed to finish. I told Saturday. They're supposed to finish when everything is done as they normally do.
Okay.
I could call Ray real quick if you like.
Okay.
We'll get to the bottom of this right now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Milford School District, it's pride and pleasure in presenting to you the 2012 edition of the Milford High School Marching Bus. The band is under direction of Christine Smith, color guard instructor, instructor Jordan Hastings, twirling and dance team coach Heather McKinney, and band assistant Mr. Joe Gator. The Marching Bus band is led on the field by drum major Alex Hughes.
as the Milford Bucks, they are down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please sit back and enjoy the Milford High School Marching Bucks 2012 show, Santana.
On the road against the Smyrna Eagles, and they are winning 33-12 with 2 minutes left before halftime as Coach Charlton Brown has coached the
My name is Dan Harold. Bill? That's not what I'm worried about. Get home.
Manage running, trying any way to get on base so I can utilize my speed to help the team win any way they can.
If you had to run against Delino, does he still have the speed that he once did back in the day?
I've never really seen him run before, but I think he's still pretty fast. So.
How is he really, as a manager, relating to other players? Just not really just yourself. But,
he's really laid back. I mean, the only time he really gets mad at us is when we're really lazy or we're losing a lot. But other than that, he just lets us go out and play.
When did your season end, and how did you make out this year?
My season ended September 11th. We got swept in the playoffs. We were up 2 games, and then they came back and beat us 3, best out of 5. And I finished 290 with 70 stolen bases. I was 4th in the minor leagues with 70 stolen bases.
Were you one of the fastest players on the team?
Yeah.
What is
me and Billy Hamilton.
What is the biggest adjustment from high school ball to the minor leagues to trying to hit that ball? There's a lot of players that have struggled. In mind, Drew Henson, when he tried to make the switch, he was a talented quarterback. His passion was for baseball, but he really struggled by hitting.
Well, the biggest challenge for me was the pitching, because the hardest throws I've seen here playing high school is probably 75, 80 miles per hour. Then you go up there, I was throwing 90, 95. So, the pitch speed was the biggest adjustment I had to make.
Dr. Carter, do you have a question for Theo before we let him go?
Well, the funny thing is I've known Theo for years, and what Theo won't tell you is that I've seen personally the transition from when he was in high school and he kind of shied away from the weight room to when he went off and came back. I couldn't keep him out of the weight room. He got mad at me because I wasn't in the weight room enough. And we work hard in the off season. And there's some guys that leave here and come back that I get that call, Coach, I'll be in town from such and such time, and let's work out. Because one of the things I did was the strength and conditioning here when I coached. But for those guys, no matter if I'm Dr. Carter, Pastor Carter, whatever it is, they still refer to me as Coach. So it's funny because as I look around, I have my 5 or 6 guys that are in the booth with us tonight that at some point in time I coached. So it's a good feeling.
Theo, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to add?
I'm just really glad to be back. It's good to see everybody, and I just hope my time home and do the best I can.
And hopefully one day you'll be in the majors.
Yep, everybody see me on TV.
Thanks for taking the time. That's Theo Bo, Milford Bucks. We're going to take your time out. You're listening to Delaware High School Games on SFMSports.net.
Hey, now what'll happen is you can actually, if you go to sfmsports.net, probably as early as maybe tomorrow,
right,
it'll be a podcast, so it'll be on there. You can just go to I think on demand and click on this game.
Sportsnet.com, right?
Yeah, okay. sfmsports.net. But if you click on demand, this game will pop up and you can actually go in and listen to it.
Text my link on Friday.
I will. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, because I'm trying to check to see if we can switch over.
But I would tell them time the game is over, they have an hour. It's done. Get off. You know what I'm saying? Period. They need to do a good job. That's enough time.